Okay, we are live. Okay, what's up, guys? So we got a returning guest today. You will probably already know him. You're probably already familiar with him. With cryptocurrency edutainment. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Luke, what's up? Doing good. What about yourself?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Introduce yourself, how you like you do on your channel, and give us a catch up on what we've been up to, and because a lot's happened since we last spoke.
Yeah, true. So, okay, let's go. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Levi Ellis here. Thanks again for watching, and welcome to my new subscribers. If you're new to my channel, I'm trying to bring you cryptocurrency news in the entertainment kind of way, so it's easy for you to digest. So today, I'm here at Luke's channel, Yes for Motivation, and we are going to talk about EOS, ICOs, and a potential hard fork with Segwit2X. Let's see.
Brilliant. You do it so much better than I do. You do it so much better than I do. But yeah, man, I mean, so since we last spoke, we've had Bitcoin Cash come into play.
Yeah,
a lot has happened. I mean, we've had all kinds of things going on, ICOs popping off, regulations, but now we face, well, not just one hard fork, but potentially two hard forks. We have Bitcoin Gold coming in October, and also Segwit2X. But in regards to Segwit2X, I'll be blunt. Like, what's the chances of this happening? Do you think it's going to happen?
Well, a lot of people think it's going to happen, but you know, I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest. I mean, Bitcoin, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think, you know, yeah, people and the majority thinks they would. I was also in a show where, or at least Adam was in my show, Adam Meister, and we were pre-discussing this as well, and he thinks it's going to happen. But if you look at it purely from an economics perspective, you know, I always like to try to look at it from that perspective. What is the added value of a 2 MB block if you now have Bitcoin Cash, which can already do, you know, such a large block? You know, I don't think it's going to happen. Really. And there's also a lot of resistance. People are getting out of the agreement and all. So my opinion is that it's not going to happen. What are your thoughts?
Another thing as well, because we have Segwit now. Yeah. Because Segwit kind of alters the block size already. So if we have Segwit2X, I mean, this is just a wacky kind of insight. But what is the 2X really for if we already have slightly larger and altered block sizes anyway, right? So perhaps so maybe you're right. Maybe we are just being totally trolled. I mean, what kind of what do you think could happen if it does happen? What do you think actually potentially happen with like the hashing power? Do you think we could see some kind of like loads of even more fluctuation with hashing power, like what we're seeing between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash at the moment?
Well, if we look at it from a hashing power perspective, hashing power mainly comes from China. Why would they go for the Segwit2X to hash there? And also, is there a difficulty adjustment with Segwit2X? The same way as with Bitcoin Cash? I don't know. But if that is not the case, then it will be not profitable at all to mine Segwit2X. So yeah, I don't think so. I think that the Chinese miners has made a decision. We either mine for Bitcoin or we mine for Bitcoin Cash. But yeah, I agree. I think it's really, we are really being trolled. But let's see, because who's gonna put the hashing power on it? Eric Voorhees, Barry Silbert. Do they have hashing power?
This is the thing. This is the thing, right? And also as well, like it seems like Bitcoin Cash is. I think it's going to stay. I think it's got the power behind it. I think it's here to stay. I mean, I was looking at the hashing power of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin reached like 10,000 petahashes. Well, Bitcoin Cash, well, when I last looked, was like 3,000. 3,000. I mean, that's still a lot of power behind those chains. So they're here to stay. So like you said, we have the bigger blocks now. We have the off-chain applications with like Bitcoin and Segwit, BTC. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. We could all just be trolled epically. I mean, the Bitcoin community is always getting trolled by by the media. What's your insights with Bitcoin Gold? That's like another more. People ain't so worried about that one.
I'm not worried about Bitcoin Gold. You know, that I guess is a good opportunity for us to gain some extra new coins, but it's not an attack on let's say the real Bitcoin. You know, yeah, it's.
Yeah,
that's it.
There's nothing to really worry about. Yeah, that's the thing. That's it for pretty much. It's there's nowhere near as much hype for that.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. But moving on from all the hard fork mayhem, EOS, like, because I'm hearing a lot about EOS, Levi, man. I'm hearing that it's going to be like I'm hearing it's going to be an Ethereum killer. I'm hearing it's going to take over Ethereum. I'm hearing things. I'm hearing it does sound quite impressive, and in previous videos I've been kind of 50-50 on EOS. But a lot of people are taking it serious, and I mean, what's your thoughts on it? I mean, can you give us a little lowdown of EOS and what it can do?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so what is important for EOS to know is to also know the guy behind it, and we all know it's Dan Larimer, of course, and he has built up some credits, in my opinion, by creating Steemit and also by creating BitShares. Although you might argue why he left those projects, but if I understood it correctly, is that he also got in a mutual agreement to leave this project and bring them to a particular level before doing something new. And you know, Dan is someone who's been around in this space already for a long time. In 2009, he already tried to, let's say, create his own cryptocurrency. He got in touch with Bitcoin very early in 2009. The rumor has it that he has been also in contact with Satoshi back then. Also around 2013, there was these discussions going on that centralized exchanges are going to get how do you say it, banned back then. And he already came up with the idea to go for a decentralized exchange. So from a visionary perspective, this guy knows what he does. And also with regards to building up a blockchain, and you know what they say, you should never build your own blockchain. Yes. And this guy made up his own blockchain already, and he managed to do it in such a way that it scales in big proportions. So
yeah, isn't Steemit like the amount of people using Steemit, like not trading the Steemit coin, but using Steemit, is actually that blockchain has much more usage volume than any other chain. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. So basically, if you combine, let's say, the transaction volume of Steemit and BitShares together, it's more. It has more transactions on the daily base than Bitcoin and Ethereum combined.
Small feat either. That's pretty impressive. It really time out. It runs quite consistently as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the big thing is, of course, also they do not charge, let's say, fees on the network. So a little bit also like IOTA. So purely from then I need to talk about scalability, of course, because the main problem with blockchain in general, or let's say the first generation blockchain, if you might call it like that, is the scalability thing. And you know, that's due to the fact that Ethereum can only do 15 transactions per second. The Ethereum virtual machine is like 1,000 times slower than a mobile phone in terms of processing power. So you know that will not be ready for let's say mainstream adoption. And if you look at it from an economics perspective, and if you want to scale out, let's say, like platforms like Facebook, for instance, will have over 1 billion users, then it doesn't make sense to have, let's say, a transaction of 15 transactions per second. And with BitShares at the moment, you already have 100,000 transactions per second. So I don't know if you have ever traded on Ether Delta, for instance. It's pretty slow, you know, because it's dependent. Exactly. So there are some discussions going on that Bitfinex and EOS are going to collaborate whenever the EOS platform is there. So I'm pretty excited where that will head to in the future. So what the thing is without going into too technical, because I'm not that very technical, but I'm just looking at, let's say, the things that make a particular technology differentiate from another technology. And there I see that they are doing, let's say, horizontal scaling, so that they have their own blockchain technology which can scale like very high, but they are also using tactics to, or techniques to, how do you say it, do better compiling of codes. So they are using, yeah, exactly. They are using WebAssembly, and that is an industry standard that is orientated on performance. So Google and Microsoft and Apple are also using that. So from that perspective, it's already getting faster. And whenever you are building, let's say, decentralized applications, it will also be faster due to let's say, a little bit of side blockchains that are being created. So it's not only, yeah, it's not only on one layer, on one main chain that where everything needs to happen. So the biggest difference between Ethereum and EOS is the fact that EOS is an operating system, and Ethereum is more like a Windows. So you, sorry, like MS-DOS, you can compare it like that. So Ethereum is like a MS-DOS, and EOS is like a Windows, you know?
I understand, yeah. That's a good description, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it has particular, should you say, modules on it, like authentication as a standard package, permissions as a standard package, but also databases as a standard package, and scheduling of applications. So that makes it very easy, let's say, for developers only to focus on the business requirements or the business features of an application, and do not need to be bothered with all the technical details where all the stuff that I've just listed in blockchain language. Do you know what I'm saying? Sorry for my bad English every now and then.
That's good. You've explained it really well. Yeah.
So if you look at it from that perspective, it's very easy, because if you look at all the developers that are around the world, there are, if you look at C#, for instance, there are approximately 10+ million C# developers. And if you look at blockchain developers, there are only, they say, approximately 10,000, and they're not even all specialized in Solidity of Ethereum, right? So we need to build something that is also something to be heavily adopted by the mainstream developers. But if you also look at, look at it from a corporate perspective. Also from a corporate perspective, if you would put Ethereum into a legacy technical environment, it will take a lot of, how do you say it, change into a big organization, which in the end will cost a lot of money. But now if you have an operating system where you just build stuff upon, then also it can, how do you say it, communicate better or integrate better with the legacy system.
Yeah,
exactly. So from that perspective, of course, it's not there. It still needs to prove itself. Looking at the track record of the past, if you look at people, you can judge their success by looking at the past successes and steam it from that perspective. Is a success. BitShares is also doing a great job. So from that perspective, I think EOS could be technically superior to Ethereum, although I'm not a technical guy, but just looking at these kind of arguments. If we look at it from a traction perspective and look at it from, okay, are they really going to surpass Ethereum? Let's look at Ethereum. They have the enterprise Ethereum alliances with, what is it now, plus 180.
It's constantly growing. The list is growing. Yeah,
exactly. It's growing and growing. And I don't know if EOS also has these tentacles, let's say, to do that. So Ethereum has the first mover advantage there. And that will be the biggest challenge for EOS, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely, because like we got companies like Cisco and like Microsoft and JP Morgan, of all people, of all companies, JP Morgan are in the alliance as well, and that's a lot of financial and technological resources at Ethereum's disposal. So clearly they must Ethereum. I remember on, I think it was on like Reddit or one of the forums, Vitalik and what's his name, Dan. They had like a little trade of words. Each other, kind of arguing about which chain is more efficient and more superior. I haven't got the link. I can't remember exactly when it was.
I've also touched base upon it a while ago.
Yeah. So it's going to be a very interesting and competitive future for the more innovative blockchains as we go forward. But you've explained. Sorry, carry on.
Sorry to interrupt, but you know the thing is, I don't know the abbreviation of EOS, but I think Dan is really fucking with Ethereum. I really think it's named like Ethereum operating system just to fuck him. If you also look at sorry for my bad language, by the way.
It's cool.
I hope I hope the kids are sleeping. But if you also look at the logo, you know, I think he's really screwing around with Ethereum.
Yeah, bro. Do you know what? Like we were saying before, everyone is trolling everyone in this industry. Everyone is getting trolled the hell out of each other, man. We're all being trolled. We're all trolling each other in this space. And definitely from that level, it wouldn't surprise me one single bit. It's kind of like everyone's flicking up the middle finger at each other. But you've explained, I mean, because last time you explained IOTA really well for people, and you explained EOS really well. So I'm glad we've touched on that. But moving on from basically from one ETH token at the moment anyway to a load of others, the ICOs, man. Where do I even begin with ICOs? Because we've had China throw the ban hammer at them. We've had we've got
Korea
startups, basically Korea as well. Yeah, they've kind of made a little stance on it. Are ICOs the way of the future for startups? Are we going to see more and more startups using the ICO business model, if we want to call it that? Someone wants to open a shop, are they going to like start an ICO? If somebody wants to like build a new car, are they going to start an ICO? Is this going to be the new way for startups and entrepreneurs to raise that capital quickly?
Yeah, of course. If you look at how much capital has been raised this year already, it's all over $1 billion. And
I lost count. I've lost count.
Exactly. But it's insane, and I mean, money's getting in so easily, and it's you know, people are just you know, going with the hype. Don't believe the hype, people. No. But I mean, yeah, it's an easy way to get money. Everybody's getting money via ICOs, and of course, what the governments are seeing right now is that they do not get a piece of that pie. Right, so it's a good thing also that's getting regulated, because there's also a lot of scam, of course. And to be honest, if you also look at it from a startup perspective, I really think it's also dangerous, because they can get in a lot of money. Also, if you look at EOS, they what is it, 150 million or something that they collected. So what do you need that money for? Do you really have running costs of so high, or where do you get all those developers from? There are only 10,000 developers in the blockchain area, and they are working on a lot of projects. You need to come up with a lot of money. If you look at it percentage-wise, if you look at benchmarking, also a lot of startups fail in the first year, even more in the second, the third, and the fourth, and then in 5, just a few survive. What will that do also eventually with Ethereum, where most of the ICOs are running on? If you have a company that goes bankrupt and you need to, let's say, have liquidity to pay for your running costs and for your go-to-market strategy and all new business development, those are all running costs. At this point of time, you know, more and more are popping up. In the end, it will have a cascading effect on, let's say, 80–90% of the startups that will fail. that can also have a heavily impact on the price of Ethereum, if you may ask me, if people need to dump money on the market to pay off their debts or their bankruptcy.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point, because basically businesses are kind of interlinked. They may not even realize it, because because like, I can't remember which ICO it was, but it had like some kind of bug or some kind of problem when it launched, and it kind of caused a whole load of problems on Ethereum's blockchain, like something to do with the volume. Ethereum just crashed.
Was teasers.
Yeah, and it just crashed. Like the price just plummeted, and obviously in effect it kind of ricocheted onto all the other little ICOs that are out there pumping as well. But it seems like that's the thing
of Ethereum, eh? Because if there is a bug in a smart contract somewhere, then it has effect on the whole network.
Yeah, and Ethereum, like always, when it does correct, like I've always said it, like it just corrects hard, man. It just it hits people hard when it does come down. When it corrects, it's lethal for Ethereum. But I mean, do you think, like, I mean, where do you think what kind of, what I'm trying to say is, what kind of nations, what nations are next in making a stance? Do you reckon like the West is going to just allow China to have the majority of say over cryptocurrency? Like, surely the West is going to kind of come up with something in retaliation to what China is saying, right? Like, China can't be allowed to kind of have all the power here, all the fun.
That's a good question. I mean, you also see it now that that Russia wants to get into the game. Yeah, I also know that Bitmain wants to get some share of hash power in the States. So they are just going abroad. Yeah. But yeah, it's difficult to say, Luke. You know, you never know what's going to happen. I think in the end, more and more countries are going to get in.
Yeah,
that's my feeling.
Yeah, I think the market is going to become more like saturated. Definitely, it'll be interesting to see like what the EU has to say about it, because I read an article where the European Central Bank admitted that they can't control any of it.
Yeah, yeah,
it's going to be crazy. It's going to be real
That's
crazy.
Correct. Yeah. Mario Draghi talked about it, but also the Central Bank of Finland said that that it's impossible to regulate cryptocurrencies. So that's actually a good thing, huh?
Yeah. Let them try and keep up. I mean, this is another question I kind of just going to throw in there. How do you think third world countries, or countries with just totally destroyed currencies, how do you think they're going to benefit from this? Because go on, carry on.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, look, I've also touched base upon that, I think a month or two ago. If we would get into adoption of cryptocurrencies, it should come from these countries, because they have a real issue. They need to live, and if you are living in Zimbabwe, then your money is worth nothing anymore. And you also see it there in the, let's say, premium prices that are being paid right now in Bitcoin. It's like $7,200 at the moment. If you look at Venezuela, hyperinflation is going on.
Really bad there, isn't it? It's really bad.
Exactly. So one Bolivar was worth like one Satoshi at a certain point of time. And if you look at Ukraine, also there they are facing with a lot of economical issues, and there they really need to have Bitcoin to use as cash. We here use it as a store of value, as savings and whatever. But if you have those countries really adopting it to stay alive, let's say, in combination with us here in the West and the East that are using it as a store of value and savings, then in the end it's 1 + 1 is 2. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Like the need for us in like the West for cryptocurrency isn't as urgent as it is for those guys, because literally like Bitcoin is a lifeline for people in those countries. And if they start mining, they can basically sell that Bitcoin for like gold. They could basically just ditch the dollar totally, and just buy gold with it, you know, and then they've got like real wealth. They've actually got like precious metals that's theirs, and they can just keep producing this Bitcoin, mining Bitcoin. I mean, the sky's the limit with this technology.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. But Anything else you wanted to mention, and before we start to wrap this up? Anything else? Any other key insights?
No, well, the thing is that I touched base on it in my video yesterday, but the thing that made me laugh was actually with regards to the first topic which we started with, was the hard fork of or the potential hard fork of Segwit2X. So have you seen that on Twitter, that there was a challenge between Charlie Lee, where he challenged Eric Voorhees of Shapeshift and Barry Silbert of the Digital Currency Group. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen the tweet. Yeah, I've seen it. And Roger Ver what in on it as well, didn't he? As well.
Yeah. So he's just using like he's doing a bet of 1,000 BTC, like poo, if like pocket money.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's going to be interesting. There's also some questions. Hang on, someone's asked some questions. There's a question saying, any insights on Digibyte and Stratis?
Digibyte and Stratis. Stratis, good solution for a good enterprise solution. Has been pumped already earlier this year. You
went quite high. Went just under $10 as well.
Very high. So I think the pump is over there. Too bad if you did not locked in some profits.
Game over.
Game over. Digibyte. Digibyte. There was a lot of hype, of course, with the Citigroup competition that they were in. They were in the finals, and I don't know, Digibyte. No, I think also, let's say from a branding perspective, if they really want to, they have different areas that they are focusing on the gaming sector, but also on the financial sector, then they really need to rebrand properly, in my opinion, to be a serious player to consider. But I don't know. Digibyte's been around for a long time, but
yeah,
I think it's all hype.
I'll tell a little story about my experience with Digibyte. When it was like half a cent or something, like probably even less. And I remember someone in like the Facebook group I'm in mention it, and I was like, oh, okay, well this looks fun. It's quite cheap. Let's just buy this. And I just threw like 30 quid on it, and like got a load of Digibyte for like really cheap. And then like a week after, it pumped. Like it went up to like 5 cents.
Yeah.
And I saw this and all this hype about the about, was it Warcraft? World of Warcraft? Or Minecraft or something?
Minecraft.
That's it. And I was like, let me have a look at this. And I researched it, and I didn't see nothing. I saw absolutely no information on this. I was like, fuck this shit, and I just dumped it. And then a few days after, boom, it just crashed. And, you know, and I think a lot of people got trolled with that as well. But that's my memory with Digibyte. Who knows what will happen with them? I thought they lost that Citibank tournament thing, but clearly there's more coming up with it. So I haven't really been following Digibyte too much. But as for Stratis, they seem quite interesting in terms of like what they're offering to like other businesses, and it's bridging that gap between blockchain and mainstream usage and businesses. And I know I looked at their roadmap the other day, and they're working on I think smart contracts and like masternodes or something like that as well. So they're working like full time. So that's always good, right? Like if they're actually developing stuff and they've got a plan, I would say out of Digibyte and Stratis, I would go for Stratis personally. But
true. Yeah, you cannot compare those two with each other. But then also, if you look at it, so who's their target audience then in terms of businesses? Are they focusing on multinational? Are they targeting, let's say, mid-size companies? And if you look at it from that perspective, then exactly. But there are so many opportunities in that area. And then the biggest player on the block there is Ethereum at this point of time. And let's not forget Hyperledger, people, because in my opinion, I think people might think I'm crazy, but I think that Hyperledger is going to be very, very big. Also in terms of scalability perspective, also the people that are part of the Hyperledger companies that are part of the Hyperledger foundation, IBM is embracing it. Oracle is also using it right now with Fabric. And if you look at, let's say, reports from Forrester, Gartner, McKinsey, I have access to these kind of reports, right? I cannot share them; they cost a lot of money. But Hyperledger is being hyped, and not only is JP Morgan there on, let's say, on the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, but other financial institutions like Swift, for instance, and others.
Isn't SoftBank is very heavily invested in blockchain as well. That's like one of the big banks of Japan as well. Yeah. And they're very pally with the Trump administration as well.
Yeah.
They got on well with Trump.
Yeah.
And SoftBank is also a big investor with Ripple. Yeah. So who knows, right? It is what it is. You know,
it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Let's see if I can see if I think there's another question. James Bond, the official troll of this channel. He has asked, what is the next coin or ICO that is going to pump? So I think we may need to get a magical ball for this one. What's your take on that? That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, what should I say, James? Which one do you want to get pumped?
Like throw a dart at the list and see which one pumps up fastest.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's a tough question.
What about talking of pump and dumps? What was that one called? Regal Coin? Do you know anything about that? That's like the most popular pump of the last week. I think that's like altcoin of the week or something. Have you heard about that?
No. I saw it popping in high, but I didn't pay a lot of attention to it.
Nor me. No. I did a little bit of research. I don't want to say too much because obviously I've only done a little bit of research. But I think they may be like, I think they're like, it's like a BitConnect Part 2. But I don't know. I need to do more research before I can kind of say anything on that. But it seems like I kind of looked at like their where the domain is hosted from and things like that, and did a bit of research. And it seems like BitConnect is slowly reincarnating. Maybe that means BitConnect's going to exit in late 2018. Who knows, right? But it is what it is. So I mean, I just stay away from these crazy pump and dumps, man.
Yeah, but also if you look at BitConnect, I see a lot of people making a lot of money. But if just look, big money. But if you just look at it, it's just like a pyramid schema.
Yeah.
So the question, this one's going to go down in the end.
Yeah, I mean, the question we have to ask, I done an anti-scam video the other day, and the question we have to ask is, like, if we put £10 in and they give us £15, where's the extra £5 coming from? Like, where's that being generated? And no one ever seems to know the answer to that. So I'll just take that as it is. Yeah. But let's see if there's any more, like one more question, and then we'll wrap it up. Someone's mentioned BitConnect free Hextra coin. That sounds like some kind of artificial intelligence. I don't want to mess with that. Crypto JB 301 coin has asked, coin prices will remain down until October the 25th. What's your take on that? Do you agree?
Well, October 25th. Why? I would say maybe even surpass that. Maybe even surpass mid-November, whenever all the Segwit2X fault is gone.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not so very confident at the moment currently with the market. I was saying, well, my assumption was if we would ever surpass the 150 billion market cap again a couple of days ago, and it could keep up, then I would have felt more comfortable. But there's so much thought going on at the moment in China, in Korea, in Japan, positive wise. But also if you look at it now from, let's say, the mainstream media and the banks that are getting how do you say it, into this as well, there's too much thought, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's always,
Get crypto entertainment make monkey noises and jump around. What the fuck? Bond. That's why Bond's the official troll of this channel. I think Bond's like the official troll
of the entire Bitcoin like ecosystem. Like every video, you know, he's gonna troll, but it's good. That's a good thing. It means he secretly he loves it. He loves us really.
Exactly.
But, awesome, man. Okay. But yeah, any other closing thoughts you want to bring up before we jump ship? And because this has been a great interview, mate. It's always a pleasure to catch, and I'm glad to catch up with you as well. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I would say long-term people, long-term everything is going to be fine, but we should also look at where the banks are coming from. In the end, the banks have been around since the 1600s with the Central Bank of England, your country, Luke.
Oh yes, I know. Yeah.
Installing the Fed also in the US. They have already a long strategic plan to go to a cashless environment, and we see now the adoption here, for instance, in the Netherlands, that we are moving over from debit cards to contactless payments. And if you look at, let's say, forecast numbers, if you look at Statista.com and you look at mobile payments, the expectation is that the growth rate is going to grow there significantly. Could it be that, for instance, Bitcoin can also be an ID that came out of their sleeves to make us euphoric, get used to things that are cashless? Just some food for thought for the people.
You put it out
and
there.
Maybe something that we can talk about next time.
Yeah, we're gonna see like 100 dislikes.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. YouTube hates it as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll have to go into that on the next video or something.
Exactly.
Man. Definitely, because there's a lot to talk about. Like that's the thing, right? We just don't know. We literally don't know, and I think we need to maintain a very open mind to all of this, and basically have our wits about us as well. So absolutely, yeah, definitely. Well, Levi, cryptocurrency edutainment, thank you for coming on. You're a legend. We appreciate all the work that you're doing in the space and all your great insights and your knowledge. And we'll catch up again on here soon, out here in the field.
Hey, that's too much credit, Luke. Thank you again for inviting me, and it's always a pleasure to be on your show. And I'm always open to get back on your show.
Yeah, man. We'll have to jump on your show sometime. Yeah, man. Yes. Definitely. I remember people subscribe to both channels, pound all the like buttons and comment and share and all that stuff that makes YouTube rank us higher. Thanks very much.